Starting a new month, the month of March. Spring is fast approaching, although it doesn't feel like it outside, does it? I always think of springtime as the time of new beginnings, time when everything is just ready to just burst forward in new life. I went outside just a couple of days ago, and there's a hibiscus that I planted 2 years ago, and it still hasn't blossomed. And I looked down, there's the teeniest, tiniest bud on it. So I'm just really looking forward to that splash of bright red color coming out soon. But now is the time of planting. I've heard it's a good time to plant citrus in Arizona. I'm going to plant a grapefruit tree. I'll let you know how that turns out. But you know, in the process of planting and reaping, in order for the seed to become all it's intended to be, it has to open up. Basically, let go of being the seed in order for the plant to come forward. And now is also the time of Lent, which is interesting. Lent traditionally has been a time of abstinence and fasting. And I hope you all are participating in that, because that means there will be more cookies for me during the social time. But the essence of Lent, the spirit of Lent, and we're all about the essence of truth. The essence of Lent is basically an inner and outer spring cleaning of sorts. So that being said, I have a couple of questions to ask you before I get too far in my talk. Remember on the first Sunday of the year, when we participated in a burning bowl ceremony? And we took little pieces of paper and we wrote down what it was we wanted to let go of, what no longer served us, what we didn't want to carry with us into this new year. And then we went outside to the burning bowl and just let that flame burn it up. So I just want to ask you this morning, just want to check in with you. How is that going for you? Have you let it go? Are you totally forgotten about it? What's she talking about? Or are you still in it? Are you still dealing with it? So, you know, the letting go process is different for different people in different situations. And sometimes it is a process, sometimes not. But you might be familiar with my book, 52 Ways to Let Go of Anything. That book came out of a workshop that I did for the Asilomar conference for the United Centers for Spiritual Living a few years ago. And the workshop was entitled, How to Say Hasta la Vista to Anything from Old Lovers to Worn Out Shoes. And I felt like I was, uniquely qualified to speak on that topic, because I've let go of a few old shoes in my life. But in my book, I present 52 ways of letting go. Some physical, some mental, some emotional, some spiritual. Because it's different in different situations. An old pair of shoes, you're ready to let them go or pass them on. But maybe there's something that you're dealing with, an emotional situation or something that you're in, and I'll just speak on a physical level, but, maybe it's your dad's old musty copy of Gulliver's Travels or your mother's box of stationery, which you're never going to write that many letters ever again now that we have email. But as you hold those things in your hand, then memories come up, and there's the mental aspect of letting go. And some of those memories have emotions with them, so there's the emotional aspect. So there's layers to the letting go process. But life always gives us the opportunity to let go and begin again, to hit the reset button. And that's part of why we come here on Sunday mornings, is to hit the reset button. You might be caught up in the drama of a situation or dealing with emotions like fear or anxiety or sadness or grief. And you come here, and through the words, through the music, you remember that life is infinite. Life supports you. Life is good. You say, oh yeah, you hit the reset button and you can release those emotions. Every day we're offered the opportunity to let go and begin again. The sun rises. It's as if the curtain opens on a brand new day, a brand new scene, a brand new act in this play we call my life and how I'm choosing to live it. And then at the end of the day, the curtain closes, as if closing that episode. And then the next day we have an opportunity to hit the reset button and begin again. The second question I wanted to ask you is, remember on the second Sunday of the year, and we participated in a white stone ceremony? Beautiful ceremony in which we all came up individually and chose a stone that resonated with us, and then we wrote a word, a characteristic, a quality that we wanted to embody this year, or maybe a name by which we wanted to be identified. So I want to ask you, just want to check in with you, how's that going? Are you embodying that quality more and more every day this year? On track with that? Are you expressing your highest aspiration, your greatest potential? Well, I hope you all are, and it's always good to check in and just remember your aspirations and your dreams, and maybe get back on track with things. Well, I know that I've been talking a lot about the first two principles of unity. Today I want to talk to you about the third principle of unity. And, it's not by chance that these 5 principles are arranged this way. It's not like they're all just thrown up. I'm pointing over here because we have a poster of the 5 basic principles of unity. But there is a sequential order to these principles, and you'll find that this third principle just easily and comfortably rests on the first 2 principles. The third principle of unity says, we are co-creators with God, creating reality through thoughts held in mind. So this principle just speaks to the inner realm, the realm of our thoughts and our feelings and our beliefs, our imagination, to create our external reality. And actually, this third principle speaks to how we can develop our consciousness of prosperity. Zing. Now, if that word prosperity is kind of a trigger word for you, I want to help you this morning to maybe turn your thinking and just fine-tune your thinking about prosperity. The word prosperity comes from the Latin word prospero. And prospero, let me look at my notes here. Prospero means having lots of money in the bank. No, it doesn't mean that at all. It doesn't mean that. Far from it. That's not what prospero means. Are you ready for this? Prosperity, the word prospero means according to your highest aspirations and dreams. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that a breath of fresh air? So I want to ask you this morning, what is your highest aspiration? What is your greatest dream? Maybe your highest aspiration is to have lots of money in the bank, to buy a new home or a new car. That's a great expression of the inner spirit expressing in your life. Or maybe your highest aspiration has something to do with perfect health, unlimited energy and vitality. That's a great expression of God expressing through you in the world. Or maybe your highest aspiration is to love without limits, to give generously and cheerfully. Maybe your highest aspiration has something to do with the community, or with our spiritual community, or even with the planet. Those are all aspects of prosperity, having your greatest desires and your highest aspirations richly fulfilled and abundantly fulfilled. Prosperity shows up in a lot of different ways. You could be prosperous in love and relationships. You could be prosperous in abundance. You could be prosperous in health. You could be prosperous in creative ideas and creative expression. You could be prosperous in money and financial freedom. You could be prosperous in having lots of fun. Nuns having fun. You could be prosperous having lots of friends. Those are all aspects of prosperity. In fact, the root of prospero, sparrow, if you're up on your Spanish, you might be familiar with the verb espero, which means, anyone? I hope. I hope. And those all have the Latin root. Those all have the same root as English words like inspire or aspire or aspiration or respiration. You do hear the word spirit in that, right? Inspire means to breathe in. Expire means to breathe out. So we could say that sparrow means to breathe in a way. And then if we put that prefix pro, which means forward, on it, well then prospero means to breathe forward. That's what prosperity is, breathing forward. It's as if the breath of God is filling the sails of your boat as you sail towards the fulfillment of your dreams. So let me just take it one step further. The English word prosper means to flourish. Anybody here want to flourish? Yes. Prosper means to succeed. Anybody here want to succeed? Prosper means to thrive. I'm going to put both hands up on that. I want to thrive in this life. And get this, prosper means to render happy. That's what prosper means, to make happy. So when we're talking about a consciousness of prosperity, we're really talking about a consciousness of happiness. That's what we're talking about. And this third principle points the way for us to develop our consciousness of prosperity and happiness. It says we are co-creators with God, creating reality through thoughts held in mind. You can see in there just basic universal principles like the law of cause and effect, which the New Testament says, as a man sows, so shall he also reap. You can see the law of attraction in there, which is very popular now. The master teacher Jesus explained it like this: it is done to you as you believe. Basically, it says think positive. Here's the challenge. Has anyone ever said to you, just think positive? Or have you said to yourself, just think positive? And there's something inside that says, I am thinking positive, and it still hasn't happened. I have been thinking positive, and I'm still dealing with it. It's as if you're trying to do a Vulcan mind meld and will yourself to think positive instead of negative, think positive instead of negative. And your mind can keep you in this off balance, out of kilter situation of going back and forth between those polarities. And going back and forth just like an unruly child, keeping you, putting up roadblocks, keeping you from trusting in the infinite. But unity is not about positive thinking, not just about positive thinking. Unity is about positive faith. And this third principle, it's the third principle. There are two principles before it that need to be embodied and understood before we're able to create a consciousness of prosperity and happiness as a way of life. You know, thinking positive goes a long way towards changing your mind and to changing your perspective on a situation. But there's a deeper aspect to it. In order to really develop a consciousness of prosperity, that is, to make prosperity and happiness a solid way of life, there's a preliminary idea that needs to be in place. And that is a consciousness of support. Ask yourself this: do I really believe that the universe supports me? Do I really feel that God cares for me? Do I really trust that the laws of nature are sustaining me and supporting me in all of my endeavors? Do I really believe the words of the prayer of protection that we speak every Sunday morning? few years ago, Kathy and I took a vacation to Acapulco. Wow, did we have a good time. And while we were there, one of the sights that we saw was the Chapel of Peace. And at the Chapel of Peace, there's a magnificent structure, a cross that stands 125 feet high. And it's a steel structure. It's covered in concrete, and it's able to withstand winds of 165 miles per hour. So in order to do that, it would have to have a really strong and solid foundation, wouldn't it? The foundation of that 125-foot cross is 65 feet, more than half the height of the cross. And we know from construction principles that the higher the building, the deeper and stronger the foundation must be. The taller the tree, the deeper the roots. The taller the tree, the deeper the I feel like I'm leading an exercise program. The taller the tree, the deeper the roots. And believing and knowing and feeling the support of the universe helps you to grow deep roots, so that just like an oak tree, when the winds blow in your life, you're not swayed, you're not toppled over. And having that deep foundation, then, that foundation of trusting the infinite, now you're ready to co-create with God, using your inner realm of beliefs and thoughts and feelings, imagination, to create the external reality. So, just like an oak tree, may you grow deep roots that are, may you be well grounded, firmly grounded in an unwavering trust in the infinite. And just like the branches that reach to the sky, may your highest aspirations and greatest dreams be richly and abundantly fulfilled. And so it is. So we're going to go